All right, so buckle up, everybody. Today we're going deep into personalized medicine.
Yeah.
You send over some fascinating stuff about, how our genes could completely change healthcare, like completely change it.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it?
So it's like medicine, but like tailor-made,
Yeah.
bespoke therapy
Yeah.
based on your genes. I'm intrigued, to say the least.
Yeah, it's really exciting field. We're moving away from that one-size-fits-all approach to medicine
Right.
towards truly individualized care.
Okay, so you've given me like a ton of material on this,
Mhm.
stuff about genomic profiling, biomarkers, tailored therapies, even the future of medicine with all of this. Where do we even begin?
Well, I think starting with genomic profiling makes sense.
Okay.
It's the foundation of everything else
Okay.
that we'll be talking about.
Right, because that's where we get that unique blueprint that you called it in your notes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is basically decoding someone's entire DNA sequence, right?
Yes.
But what does that actually tell us?
Well, it's like having an instruction manual for your body,
Okay.
but on a molecular level. By analyzing your DNA, we can identify variations in your genes that might make you more susceptible to certain diseases or influence how your body processes medications.
So like, okay, let's say I went and got my genome sequenced. What kind of information would I get back? Would it be like, hey, you're predisposed to this, watch out for that?
Exactly. It can reveal predispositions to things like heart disease, diabetes, or certain types of cancer.
Oh, wow.
And this kind of information empowers you to take proactive steps to mitigate those risks.
Right.
It's not a crystal ball, but it can give you valuable insights into your health, health trajectory.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not just about predicting disease, right?
Right.
You mentioned medications. How does genomic profiling play into that?
Yeah, so that's where pharmacogenomics comes in.
Okay.
The study of how genes affect a person's response to drugs.
Okay, that sounds incredibly useful.
Yeah.
So how does that actually work in practice? Are we talking about like tweaking dosages or something more complex?
It can be both.
Okay.
For some medications, your genes might influence how quickly your body metabolizes the drug.
Right.
So based on your genetic profile, doctors might adjust the dosage to ensure you're getting the right amount for optimal effectiveness.
So no more like trial and error with medications, just straight to the most effective dose.
Potentially, yeah.
That's pretty impressive. But what about the tailored therapies thing? That sounds even more futuristic.
Yeah, that's where things get really interesting. We're talking about drugs designed to target very specific pathways in the body,
Okay.
all based on an individual's genetic makeup. One promising area is called biased agonism.
Biased what now?
Biased agonism.
Okay, break that down for me. That sounds pretty technical.
It's actually a pretty simple concept. Think of a receptor in your body like a lock,
Okay.
and a drug like a key.
Mm-hmm.
Traditional drugs might be like a master key that unlocks all the doors,
Okay.
even the ones you don't want to open, which can lead to side effects.
So you're saying tailored therapies are like keys that only open specific doors?
Exactly.
Wow.
Biased agonism is about designing drugs that act like those specific keys.
Okay.
They only activate the beneficial pathways of a receptor while avoiding those that might lead to unwanted side effects.
Okay, so fewer side effects, more targeted treatment, all thanks to our genes.
Right.
That's like medicine is becoming less of a like blunt instrument and more like a precision tool.
Yes, exactly.
What are some examples of this in action? Like, are there any specific diseases where this approach is showing promise?
Absolutely. Take cancer, for example.
Mhm.
Researchers are developing therapies that target specific genetic mutations within tumor cells. This allows for a much more targeted approach to treatment, minimizing damage to healthy cells.
Wow, so that's like taking personalized medicine to a whole new level.
Yeah.
It's incredible to think about how far we've come in, like such a short amount of time.
It really is.
But where do we go from here?
Right.
What does the future of medicine look like with all these advancements?
Well, that's a question that has researchers and clinicians buzzing with excitement. Imagine a world where your doctor can predict your individual risk for diseases before they even develop, based on your unique genetic profile.
That's right. And if we know the risks, we can take steps to prevent them, right? It's all about like proactive healthcare,
Exactly.
which sounds way better than reactive healthcare.
Absolutely. Early detection and prevention based on your genetic predispositions is one of the most promising aspects of personalized medicine.
And then there's things like gene therapies. That's like a whole other level of incredible.
Yeah.
Are we talking about actually repairing faulty genes at the source?
That's exactly what gene therapy aims to do. It's still early days,
Yeah.
but the potential is enormous. We could potentially cure diseases that were once considered incurable,
Right.
like certain types of genetic disorders.
So from early detection to like personalized treatments and even gene editing, it sounds like the future of medicine is going to be completely transformed by this.
Absolutely. It's a paradigm shift in how we approach healthcare,
Wow.
all driven by a deeper understanding of our individual genetic blueprints. And that brings us to an important question: biomarkers.
Right. Biomarkers. Those are like the
Okay.
clues that tell us how our bodies will react to certain treatments,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's like having a personalized health forecast.
Precisely. Biomarkers can be anything from specific enzymes in your liver to the presence of certain gut bacteria. They give us incredible insights into how your body functions
Okay.
and how it might respond to different medications.
So how are biomarkers actually used in personalized medicine?
Mhm.
Can you give me some specific examples?
Sure. For example, some people have mutations that affect how their bodies break down certain drugs.
Okay.
So, let's say you're taking a medication for high blood pressure. A biomarker test could reveal if you have a mutation that makes you metabolize that drug slowly.
And if they metabolize it slowly, that means they might need a lower dose to avoid side effects, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And on the flip side, someone who metabolizes it quickly might need a higher dose to get the desired effect. Biomarkers allow us to fine-tune treatment plans to maximize effectiveness and minimize risks.
This is all starting to sound like science fiction, but it's actually happening. Like right now.
Yeah.
It's incredible to think about how much our genes can influence our health and how we respond to treatments.
It really is remarkable, and we've only just begun to scratch the surface of what's possible with personalized medicine.
I'm definitely getting that feeling. And speaking of scratching the surface, there's one more piece of this puzzle that I'm like particularly curious about.
Okay.
The role of our gut bacteria. You've hinted at it a couple of times, but can you tell me more about how that ties into personalized medicine?
That's a great question, and it brings us to an area of research that's absolutely exploding right now, the microbiome. We're learning that the trillions of bacteria living in our gut have a profound impact on our health.
Okay.
And this opens up a whole new dimension of personalized medicine.
Okay, that's officially blowing my mind. So are you saying that our gut bacteria could actually influence how well we respond to medications?
Absolutely. Some medications, like LDOPA for Parkinson's disease, actually rely on gut bacteria to be converted into their active forms.
Oh, wow.
Without the right microbes, the medication might not work as well.
Wait, seriously? So the composition of our gut microbiome could literally determine whether a drug is effective or not?
Exactly. And it goes beyond drug metabolism. We're finding that the microbiome can influence everything from our immune system to our mental health.
Really?
This opens up exciting possibilities for personalized treatments that target the gut bacteria to improve overall health.
Wow, this is getting deep, pun intended.
Yeah.
So instead of just looking at our genes, we're now looking at the genes of like the trillions of bacteria living inside us. That's like a whole other level of complexity.
It is, and it's what makes personalized medicine so fascinating. It's about understanding the intricate interplay between our genes, our environment, and even the microbes we share our bodies with.
This has been an incredible journey so far.
Yeah.
It's clear that personalized medicine is going to like revolutionize healthcare as we know it.
It really is.
But where do we go from here?
Yeah.
What are the biggest challenges, like, and ethical considerations we need to address as this field continues to advance?
That's a crucial question, and one that researchers and policymakers are grappling with right now. One of the biggest challenges is ensuring equitable access to these advancements. We don't want to create a healthcare system where only the privileged few can benefit from personalized medicine.
Right, because if these treatments are going to truly, like, revolutionize healthcare,
Yeah.
they need to be accessible to everyone,
Exactly.
regardless of their background or, socioeconomic status.
Absolutely. And then there are concerns about data privacy and security.
All right.
If we're collecting vast amounts of genetic information from individuals, how do we ensure that this data is protected and used responsibly?
Those are important questions to consider.
I think they are.
And what about the potential for, like, genetic discrimination?
Mm-hmm.
Could, like, employers or insurance companies use this information to discriminate against individuals based on their genetic predispositions?
Those are all very real concerns that need to be carefully considered as we move forward with personalized medicine. It's crucial that we develop ethical guidelines and regulations to ensure that these advancements are used responsibly and for the benefit of all.
So while the potential benefits of this field are undeniable,
Yeah.
it's essential that we also address the ethical challenges and ensure that this technology is used responsibly and equitably.
I couldn't agree more.
This deep dive has been absolutely fascinating.
Yes.
It's amazing to see how science is paving the way for a future where medicine is truly tailored to each individual. But with this incredible potential comes the responsibility to ensure that these advancements benefit everyone
Absolutely.
and are used ethically. I'm really looking forward to continuing this discussion
Me too.
and exploring even more about personalized medicine, but we'll have to save that for the next part of our deep dive. Stay tuned for more.
Sounds good. You know, it's amazing to think that, like, just a few decades ago, this whole idea of personalized medicine was basically science fiction.
Right.
And now it's becoming a reality, like,
Yeah.
really fast.
Yeah. It really is mind-blowing how fast this field is moving.
Mm-hmm.
I remember reading about, like, gene therapy in high school, and it seemed like something out of a movie.
Right.
And now, like, it's being used in clinical trials and showing real promise for treating some diseases that we thought were, like, incurable.
Yeah, it really highlights the incredible pace of scientific advancement, you know?
Hmm.
And with that advancement, of course, comes a responsibility to really consider the ethical implications.
Oh, absolutely. We talked a bit about, like, data privacy and potential discrimination. Those are, like, huge issues that we need to address. But I'm also curious about the more practical side of things.
Okay.
So how does personalized medicine actually get implemented in a healthcare system that's, like, already pretty complex?
That's a great question, and it's something that researchers and clinicians and policymakers are all working on together.
Hmm.
I think one of the biggest hurdles is integrating genetic information into electronic health records
Right.
in a way that's both secure and accessible to healthcare providers.
Right, because it's one thing to, like, have someone's genome sequenced, but it's a whole other thing to actually make sense of all that data and use it to guide treatment decisions.
Exactly.
It's like having this massive library, but no good, like, indexing system.
Exactly. We need to develop these really robust systems for analyzing and interpreting genetic data
Right.
and then translating those insights into actionable clinical recommendations.
Right, and those recommendations need to be clear and understandable for both doctors and patients, right?
Absolutely.
Because if people don't understand what their genetic information means or how it can be used to improve their health, then it's not really going to be very helpful.
That's a critical point. We need to invest in education and training for healthcare providers so they're equipped to kind of navigate this new landscape
Hmm.
of personalized medicine. And we need to find ways to communicate this complex genetic information to patients in a way that's empowering and not overwhelming.
I think that's key, like making sure people feel empowered by this information and not, like, scared or confused by it.
Yeah.
It's about using genetics to improve health outcomes, not create new anxieties.
Precisely. And that brings us to another important aspect of personalized medicine, which is patient engagement.
Okay.
For this to really work, individuals need to be active participants in their own healthcare journey.
So it's not just about doctors telling patients what to do based on their genes. It's about, like, patients being informed and involved in the decision-making process.
Exactly. Personalized medicine requires this collaborative approach
Okay.
between doctors and patients. It's about shared decision-making, where patients understand their genetic risks and treatment options
Right.
and actively participate in developing a care plan that's right for them.
That makes a lot of sense. It puts the patient, like, at the center of their own healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
which is how it should be. But let's get back to, like, the science for a moment.
Sure.
We've talked about gene therapies and how they could potentially, like, cure diseases.
Yeah.
Are there any specific examples where this is, like, starting to become a reality?
Absolutely. There are some exciting developments in the treatment of rare genetic disorders.
Okay.
For instance, there's a gene therapy that's been approved for a condition called spinal muscular atrophy, or SMA.
Okay.
It's a really devastating neuromuscular disease that often affects infants.
So a disease that was once considered, like, fatal
Mm-hmm.
is now potentially treatable with gene therapy.
Potentially, yeah.
That's incredible.
It's a remarkable achievement, and it highlights the transformative potential of this technology.
Yeah.
And there are many more gene therapies in development for a wide range of conditions, from inherited blindness to certain types of cancer.
It's amazing to think about the possibilities, but I imagine there are still, like, a lot of challenges to overcome
Yeah.
before gene therapy becomes a mainstream treatment option.
Of course. One of the biggest challenges is cost. Gene therapies are incredibly expensive to develop and manufacture,
Right.
which makes them inaccessible to many patients.
Right, because even if a gene therapy is effective, It's not going to, like, make a difference if people can't afford it.
Exactly.
So how do we address that issue?
Well, that's a complex question with no easy answers. It involves finding ways to make gene therapies more affordable, developing innovative payment models, and ensuring equitable access to these treatments.
So it sounds like there needs to be, like, a collaborative effort from, like, researchers, pharmaceutical companies, policymakers, and, like, insurance providers to make gene therapies truly accessible.
Absolutely. It's a multifaceted challenge that requires a holistic approach.
Yeah.
But the potential benefits are so significant that it's an effort worth pursuing.
Okay. Let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something a little less technical.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that personalized medicine is about understanding the interplay between our genes and our environment. What does that actually look like in practice?
Well, consider the example of diet and nutrition.
Okay.
We know that certain foods can influence our risk for developing certain diseases,
Right.
but those effects can vary depending on an individual's genetic makeup.
So what works for one person might not work for another, even if they're, like, following the same diet.
Exactly. Personalized medicine aims to understand those individual variations so we can provide tailored dietary recommendations that are more likely to be effective.
So instead of just saying, like, eat a healthy diet,
Yeah.
we're moving towards more, like, specific advice, like, based on your genes, you should focus on eating more of this and less of that.
That's the idea. It's about taking a more personalized approach to nutrition,
Okay.
using genetic information to optimize dietary choices
Okay.
for individual health outcomes.
That's pretty cool. And it seems like that same principle could apply to, like, other lifestyle factors as well.
Yes,
Like exercise, sleep.
absolutely. We're learning that our genes can influence how our bodies respond to exercise, how much sleep we need, even our susceptibility to stress.
Wow.
Personalized medicine aims to integrate all of this information to create this holistic approach to healthcare.
So it's really about, like, understanding the whole person, not just their genes.
Exactly. It's about considering the complex interplay of factors
Right.
that contribute to an individual's health and tailoring interventions to their unique needs.
This has been, like, a truly fascinating discussion. It's clear that personalized medicine is more than just about genes. It's about taking a holistic approach to healthcare that considers the individual, like, in their entirety.
I completely agree. And as we continue to learn more about the intricate connections between our genes, our environment, and our overall health, the potential for personalized medicine to improve lives becomes even more exciting.
I'm definitely feeling that excitement. We've covered a lot of ground today, but there's still so much more to explore.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are some of the, like, other frontiers in personalized medicine that you're, like, particularly excited about?
Well, one area that's generating a lot of buzz is the use of artificial intelligence, or AI,
Good.
to analyze massive data sets of genetic and clinical information.
AI in healthcare.
Yeah,
That sounds like something straight out of, like, a movie.
it does, doesn't it?
What role could AI actually play in, like, personalized medicine?
Well, AI algorithms can be trained to identify patterns and make predictions that would be impossible for humans to do on their own.
Okay.
For example, they could be used to predict an individual's risk for developing a certain disease,
Uh-huh.
identify the most effective treatment options based on their genetic profile, or even personalize drug dosages
Wow.
to minimize side effects.
So AI could be like a super-powered assistant for doctors, like
Yeah.
helping them make better and faster decisions about patient care.
That's the idea, yeah.
Yeah.
AI has the potential to revolutionize how we diagnose, treat, and even prevent diseases. It could help us move toward a future where healthcare is more proactive, precise, and personalized than ever before.
That sounds incredibly promising, but I also imagine there are some, like, ethical considerations that come with using AI in healthcare.
You're absolutely right. As with any powerful technology, we need to ensure that AI is used responsibly and ethically. One of the biggest concerns is bias.
Bias. How could AI be biased?
Well, AI algorithms are trained on massive data sets. And if those data sets contain biases, for example, if they overrepresent certain populations or demographics, then the AI algorithms could perpetuate those biases.
Oh, okay.
This could lead to unfair or inaccurate predictions or recommendations, particularly for groups that are already marginalized or underserved in healthcare.
So it's, like, crucial to make sure that the data sets used to train AI algorithms are, like, diverse and representative of the population as a whole.
Exactly. We need to be very careful about the data we use and how we use it. And we need to develop ethical guidelines and regulations for the development and deployment of AI in healthcare to ensure that it's used in a way that benefits all patients.
This is all so fascinating. It feels like we're like on the cusp of a major transformation in healthcare.
I think so, yeah.
But with that transformation comes like a responsibility
Yeah.
to make sure these advancements are used wisely and
Yep,
ethically.
absolutely.
Well, you've certainly given us a lot to think about today. I'm eager to continue this discussion and delve even deeper into the world of personalized medicine. But for now, we'll have to wrap up this part of our deep dive. Stay tuned for more.
It's like we're really talking about a fundamental shift, in how we even think about healthcare.
Okay.
It's not just about treating diseases anymore. It's about understanding and managing a person's unique health, trajectory.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's like moving from a reactive approach to a proactive one.
Exact.
Instead of waiting for people to get sick, we're trying to identify their individual risks
Yeah.
and intervene early
Mm.
to prevent disease, or at least slow its progression.
Exactly. And that's where all these tools we've been talking about come into play. Genomics, biomarkers, tailored therapies, AI, they all contribute to this more personalized and proactive approach to healthcare.
Yeah, it's like we're finally starting to see the potential of all that research that was done on the human genome.
Yeah.
We're not just mapping our genes anymore. We're starting to understand what they mean and how we can use that knowledge to actually improve our health.
Yeah, it's a very exciting time. And as we continue to learn more about this complex interplay between our genes, our environment, and our lifestyle choices, the possibilities for personalized medicine just become more and more vast.
I'm curious, what are some of the areas where you see the biggest potential for personalized medicine to really make a difference in people's lives?
Well, one area that I'm particularly excited about is cancer treatment.
Okay.
We've already talked about how targeted therapies can be used to attack specific genetic mutations in tumor cells, but personalized medicine goes way beyond that.
Okay, so how is personalized medicine changing cancer treatment beyond just targeted therapies?
So imagine a future where when someone is diagnosed with cancer, we don't just look at the type and stage of the cancer.
Right.
We also analyze their unique genetic profile, their microbiome, their lifestyle factors, basically everything that makes them unique.
So it's like creating a personalized roadmap for each patient's cancer journey.
That's a great analogy. By understanding all these factors, we can develop a treatment plan that's tailored to that individual, maximizing the effectiveness of treatment while minimizing side effects.
That sounds incredible, but I imagine it's still early days for this kind of approach to cancer care.
It is, but there's a lot of research happening in this area, and we're already starting to see some promising results. For example, there are clinical trials underway where patients with certain types of cancer are having their tumors and their blood analyzed to identify specific genetic mutations that might make them more likely to respond to certain treatments.
So it's like matching the right treatment to the right patient based on their individual tumor profile.
Exactly. It's about moving away from the one-size-fits-all approach to cancer treatment and towards a more personalized and precise approach.
Yeah, I can definitely see why you're excited about this. It really has the potential to completely revolutionize cancer care.
Hmm.
But let's shift gears a bit and talk about something else that you mentioned earlier, the microbiome. You said that the trillions of bacteria living in our gut could play a role in personalized medicine.
Yes.
Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Absolutely. The microbiome is one of the most fascinating areas of research right now. We're learning that these microbes play a much bigger role in our health than we ever imagined.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that certain medications actually rely on gut bacteria to be converted into their active forms. But how else could the microbiome be used in personalized medicine?
Well, for one thing, we're discovering that certain gut bacteria profiles are associated with an increased risk for various diseases, from obesity and diabetes to autoimmune disorders and even mental health conditions.
So if we know someone's gut bacteria profile, we might be able to predict their risk for developing certain diseases and then intervene early to prevent them.
That's the idea. And there's also growing evidence that manipulating the microbiome, for example, through diet, probiotics, or even fecal transplants could be used to treat certain conditions.
Fecal transplants. Wow, that sounds intense.
It is.
But I guess it makes sense if we're talking about literally changing the composition of someone's gut bacteria.
Yeah, it's definitely not for the faint of heart, but fecal transplants have shown remarkable success in treating certain types of gut infections. And researchers are now exploring their potential for treating other conditions like inflammatory bowel disease and even autism.
That's amazing. So in a way, we're talking about like personalized medicine that goes beyond our own human cells and taps into the power of the microbes that live inside us.
Exactly. It's about understanding this intricate ecosystem within us and using that knowledge to optimize our health.
It's incredible to think about how much we've learned about the human body and how all this knowledge is transforming healthcare.
Right.
But with all this incredible potential, there are also some big questions that we need to address.
Absolutely. We've touched on some of the ethical considerations like data privacy, genetic discrimination, and ensuring equitable access to these advancements. But there are also broader societal questions that we need to grapple with.
Like what kind of questions?
Well, for one thing, personalized medicine has the potential to significantly increase healthcare costs. If we're talking about tailoring treatments to each individual, that means more testing, more specialized drugs, and more complex care plans.
That's a valid concern. So how do we balance the benefits of personalized medicine with the need to keep healthcare affordable and accessible?
That's a really tough question, and there's no easy answer. It will require really careful consideration from policymakers, insurance providers, and healthcare systems to figure out how to integrate personalized medicine in a way that's both effective and sustainable.
It sounds like there's a lot of work to be done, but the potential rewards are enormous.
They are.
I'm really excited to see how this field continues to evolve and how it shapes the future of healthcare.
Me too. It's a privilege to be working in a field that has the potential to make such a profound impact on human health.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the basics of genomics to the complexities of the microbiome and the ethical challenges of personalized medicine. It's been a truly fascinating deep dive into a field that's transforming healthcare as we know it.
It really has. I've really enjoyed this conversation. It's clear that you've given this topic a lot of thought, and your questions have been incredibly insightful.
Well, I'm a firm believer that knowledge is power. And the more we understand about our own bodies and the incredible advancements happening in healthcare, the better equipped we are to make informed decisions about our own health and well-being.
I couldn't agree more. It's been a pleasure sharing this journey of discovery with you.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive into personalized medicine has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to learn more. As always, we encourage you to continue exploring and stay tuned for more fascinating deep dives into the world of science and technology.